When at first Jayanti celebrations were contemplated by Sri Bhagavan's disciples, he responded with these verses. You who wish to celebrate the birthday, seek first whence was your birth. One's true birthday is when he enters that which transcends birth and death, the eternal being. At least on one's birthday, one should mourn one's entry into this world, samsara. To glory in it and celebrate it is like delighting in and decorating a corpse. To seek oneself and merge in the self, that is wisdom. Bhagavan says, Guru's grace is always there. You imagine it as something, somewhere, high up in the sky, far away, and has to descend. It is really inside you, in your heart, and the moment you effect subsidence or merger of the mind into its source, the grace rushes forth, spouting as from a spring from within you. When a devotee reaches a certain stage and becomes fit for enlightenment, the same God whom he was worshipping comes as Guru and leads him on. The Guru comes only to tell him, God is within yourself. Dive within and realize. God, Guru, and the Self are the same. Grace is within you. If it were external, it would be useless. Grace is the Self. It is not something to be acquired from others. All that is necessary is to know its existence in you. You are never out of its operation. Grace is ever there. It is not manifest because of ignorance prevailing. With Shraddha, faith, it will become manifest. Shraddha, grace, light, spirit are all synonymous with the Self. Grace is the beginning, middle, and end. Grace is the Self. Because of the false identification with the body, grace is considered to be embodied. But the Guru's outlook is to see only the Self. The Self is only one. He tells you that the Self alone is. Is not the Self your grace? Where will grace come from? From the Self only. Manifestation of the Self is the manifestation of grace, and vice versa. All these doubts arise because of one's wrong outlook and consequent expectation of things external to oneself. Nothing is external to the Self. The highest form of grace is silence. It is also the highest spiritual instruction. All other modes of instruction are derivations from silence and are therefore secondary. Silence is the primary form. If the Guru is silent, the seeker's mind gets purified by itself. Realization is beyond expression. Expression always fails to describe it. Although the expression of realization is impossible, still its existence is indicated. It is said that the whole Vedanta can be compressed into 4 words: Deham, Naham, Koham, Soham. Deham is Naham. The body is not I. If one inquires, Koham, who am I? If one inquires whence this I springs and realizes it, then in the heart of such a one, the omnipresent God will shine as I, as Sa-aham or Soham. He will know that I am, that is I. Just as a lamp spontaneously goes out, if not fed with oil, so also the ego becomes extinct if one meditates unceasingly and becomes merged in the self. There is no higher gain than the self. The sun is there and shines, and you are surrounded by sunlight. Still, if you would know the sun, you must turn your eyes in its direction and look at it. Similarly, grace is only to be found by effort, although it is here and now. He who sees the self alone in the world also. It is immaterial to the enlightened whether the world appears or not. In either case, his attention is turned to the self. It is like the letters in the paper on which they are printed. You are so engrossed in the letters that you forget about the paper. But the enlightened sees the paper as the substratum, whether the letters appear on it or not. He who is forgetful of the self, mistaking the physical body for it, and goes through innumerable births, is like one who wanders all over the world in a dream. Thus, realizing the self would only be like waking up from the dream wanderings. One who asks himself, who am I and where am I, though existing all the while as the self, is like a drunken man who inquires about his own identity and whereabouts. While in fact the body is in the self, he who thinks that the self is within the insentient body is like one who considers the cloth of the screen which supports a cinema picture to be contained within the picture. Does an ornament exist apart from the gold of which it is made? Where is the body apart from the self? He who considers the body to be himself is an ignorant man. He who regards himself as the self is the enlightened one and has realized the self. The jnani sees no one as an ajnani. All are only jnanis in his sight. In the ignorant state, one superimposes one's ignorance on a jnani and mistakes him for a doer. In the state of jnana, the jnani sees nothing separate from the self. The self is all shining and only pure jnana. Two friends went to sleep side by side. One of them dreamt that both of them had gone on a long journey and had strange experiences. On waking up, he recapitulated them and asked his friend if it were not so. The other one simply ridiculed him, saying that it was only his dream and could not affect the other. So it is with the ajnani, who superimposes his elusive ideas on others. If the self has a form, then the world and God have too. But if the self is formless, then how and by whom are forms to be seen? Is the spectacle ever different from the eye that sees it? The real I is just the real self. It is infinite consciousness, formless and worldless. There are different ways to Tirvannamalai, but Tirvannamalai is the same by whatever way it is gained. Similarly, the approach to realization varies according to the personality, yet the self is the same. But still, being in Tirvannamalai, to ask the way to it is ridiculous. So also, being the self, to ask how to realize the self, looks absurd. You are the self. Remain as the self. That is all. Questions arise because of the present wrong identification of the self with the body. That is ignorance. That must go. On its removal, the self alone is. As the sky is in no way affected by the formation and dispersion of clouds, so the real self is in no way affected by the birth and death of the body.
Haratu Liyaro Arunagiri Ramanuniki Karunadra Hridayuniki Ramanuniki Karunadra Hridayuniki Ramanuniki Haratu Liyaro Arunagiri Ramanuniki Karunadra Hridayuniki Ramanuniki Karunadra Hridayuniki Ramanuniki Haratu Liyaro Haratu Liyaro Haratu Liyaro సౌందర్యనేత్రునికి సౌమ్య స్వభావునికి మౌన బోధకునికి జ్ఞాన ప్రదాతకు దైవతమూర్తికి దివ్య స్వరూపునికి హారతు లీయరో అరుణగిరి రమణునికి రమణునికి కరుణాద్ర హృదయునికి రమణునికి కరుణాద్ర హృదయునికి రమణునికి హారతు లీయరో హారతు లీయరో హారతు లీయరో సకల ప్రాణి కోటి నొకరికి ప్రేమించి మౌనముగ భక్తుల భారముల గ్రహించి దైవ శక్తికి గల బలమును ప్రకటించి అరుణగిరి అంచున ఆరాధ్యుదాగనికి హారతు లీయరో అరుణగిరి రమణునికి రమణునికి కరుణాద్ర హృదయునికి రమణునికి కరుణాద్ర హృదయునికి రమణునికి హారతు లీయరో करो